Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Our topic for discussion is effective instruction in grades 9 through 12. I'm Kim Sibio at DeLand High School, and our focus is based on the usage of the Danielson Framework for Teaching by Charlotte Danielson. The Charlotte Danielson Framework for Teaching consists of 4 domains. Domain 1 is the planning of clear objectives. Domain 2 is establishing a culture for learning. Domain 3 is instruction, which will be our focal point today. And Domain 4 is professional responsibilities. Effective instruction results in student learning. That's what the data shows us. So we will take a look at strategies to increase our effective instruction. And Domain 3 is going to focus on the power component of using questioning and discussion techniques to increase engagement. Let's take a look. The questioning and discussion techniques will result in increased engagement and student learning. This will result from activating the student's background knowledge, using the various questioning and discussion techniques, and resulting in meaningful student learning. Some of the techniques are using cues and questions, high order thinking questions, also known as hot questions, using a variety of organizers, and examining similarities and differences. A few cues and questions can capture students' attention, such as warm-ups that are open-ended, thought-provoking questions. They can also be used to activate prior knowledge by using anticipatory guides to check the level of understanding. You can also provide hints about students will learn, such as developing a hypothesis of an outcome. The cues and questions also reinforce established knowledge and can introduce new information that is yet to come. Now we will turn towards Bloom's taxonomy, high-order thinking questions, or hot questions, which serve as a platform of background knowledge. It helps set the stage for learning by using pictures or stories, draws attention to important points in the new information, and expresses relationship within the material. Hot questions introduce rigor to students' meaningful practices. Let's look at a few examples. There are 4 categories that will be our focus today. These are based on Bloom's taxonomy in the categories of applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Our focal point will be in blue to demonstrate, to compare and contrast, to defend, to predict, and finally, to design. We'll use a classroom of AP World History for some practical examples. In the category of applying, to demonstrate, to show cause and effect. Demonstrate the effectiveness of the mandate of heaven during the Qin dynasty in China. Analyzing, to compare and contrast, to use a Venn diagram as a representation. Compare and contrast feudalism in Europe and Japan during the 14th century. In the category of evaluating, to defend. In terms of the Enlightenment philosophy, defend Rousseau's statement, man is born free, but he is everywhere in chains. Also, to predict. Predict the socio-political impact that the Treaty of Versailles would have on post-World War I Germany. And finally, the category creating, to design. Design a modern city based on Tenochtitlan's Chinampa aquatic system, focusing on agriculture and transportation systems. Organizers for student learning incorporate these hot questions by serving as a platform of background knowledge, setting the stage for learning, drawing their attention to important points, and expressing the relationship with the material. This is a transfer of new information into long-term memory. It also transfers abstract concepts into concrete visual representations of the material. This results in long-term retention. There are a variety of organizers that can be used: hierarchical, comparative, sequential, cyclical, and conceptual. Let's take a look at a few examples. When looking at similarities and differences, mind maps can be used to show representation, to integrate, cause and effect, to demonstrate analogies of relationships, compare and contrast, gain insight or draw inferences, or notice new features and concepts that the material introduces to the students. Here are some visual representations. Based on Bloom's taxonomy, the hot questions, and the graphic organizers that represent them. This demonstrates an increased rigor and engagement for the students. First, we have a cause and effect diagram. Then we have the cyclical Venn diagram to the right. We also have predictions represented below. This is based on contributing factors to formulate a hypothesis. The results of effective teaching are rigorous learning results. This can take the form of task persistence, regular attendance, and sustained attention in the classroom. It can also express itself in heightened levels of excitement, interest in learning, and a sense of belonging. Students are more open to accepting academic challenges and exhibit positive self-concepts. They also express a desire for continued learning as a result. Now from the chats, let's take a look at some of the questions that you have posed from the material today. Question number 1, what is the difference between the category of applying and creating in Bloom's taxonomy? I believe that the difference is applying is taking existing material and comparing it and applying it with the new information, whereas creating is starting from the ground up, starting from scratch to develop an end result. Question number 2, how do you know when information moves from short-term retention to long-term retention? That can best be expressed in the formative and summative assessments that teachers use in the classroom. To test for understanding, teachers use formative assessments, and then to move from the short-term to the long-term memory, that will result and express itself finally in a summative assessment. And the last question today, how are regular attendance and a sense of belonging the result of effective teaching? Well, regular attendance can show itself in heightened engagement and feeling a sense of camaraderie in the classroom so that students have a willingness to attend daily. They develop their skills and feel a self-confidence that they're proud of what they're able to apply in the classroom, and have a sense of belonging because they have a positive attribute from participating fully with their increased engagement. Thank you so much for joining me today. My final slide is the references that were used to present this PowerPoint, and I hope that you're able to apply some of the strategies and discussion techniques and organizers discussed in this training session. Thanks. Bye-bye.